colder here, so there's still ice and snow, and visibility's not great. So I figured I'd just give y'all a little taste of my last 38 minutes of sheer terror of driving this thing. It's not that bad. It's actually pretty fun. I took this route just so I could take this road, but I thought I'd get here before sundown. So much for that. I wasn't thinking straight. So enjoy. Disregard any screams of terror. I mean, that's just me. Woohoo! Oh. No sign at all. Yeah, okay. I don't know how this is going to come out on the camera, but from my vantage point behind the steering wheel, it's pretty tight knuckle. Holy crap. Drum brakes, don't fail me now. Woo! Oncoming traffic, please don't let there be. I already near missed a doe that was limping on her back rear leg. The last time I was here, I saw hundreds of deer. So here goes nothing. We're only going 30 miles an hour too. I think it looks faster than it is. It feels faster than it is. And the guy behind me decided he's just gonna pull up and blind me with his brights because I'm not going fast enough. Yeah, thanks for the brights. Great. I don't know where to pull off to let him by. And I know you can't see it from the camera, but there's, other than the other side of the road, there's no pull-offs where I'm at. By the time I see him, I'm past him. Oh, there's oncoming traffic. Oncoming traffic. Okay. Yeah, I got a railing here, buddy. Either a railing or a drop-off. Your choice. And is that oncoming? It's oncoming traffic. Look at that. It's a double chicane. Hello. I feel like I'm at flying. Oh, there's another chicane coming up. At least this one's marked. I feel like I'm at Monaco with doing Formula One. There we go. Oh, that was good. That was really good. Yeah. Oh, yeah. My battery's almost dead on the camera. I'll just ride this one out until the battery dies. My map is up on the other phone, so. Plus, by talking to the phone, I think I'll be able to stay more alert and awake. That and again, the terror. What's on my headlights? These are headlights circa 1969. These were the original ones that were in it. I think after this trip, I'm going to LEDs. I kept these so it looked more period correct. I think I'm done with that. I think we're going to go with LEDs in this. Oh, that was a place to pull off. Crap. Is that? Yeah, that was one too. See, by the time you recognize them, you know, if this guy wasn't pushing me, there we go. There you go. Get your ass around. There you are. I spent a bunch of years in Afghanistan, and a lot of that I spent driving out in the, not in a tactical vehicle, but in a civilian vehicle. And I found that most American drivers would cause their own traffic jams by being too aggressive and stressing out know, they're not really terrifically trained, and they're definitely not Western trained Afghan driver. And so as soon as they start pressuring the traffic in front of them, people start losing their stuff, and they make mistakes, and they end up creating traffic jams. I found that is just getting a feel for the way the Afghans drove. I drove like them and found that I could get through traffic much faster than an American driver could. There we go. My brights aren't much, but at least the token would be my dims, since that guy was right in my cone of light. I once raced the U.S. Army tactical vehicle across Kabul, and we went from the very western suburbs to the very eastern suburbs. I drove my route and my way, and he drove his route and his way. I beat him by nearly an hour. It took him a little over 3 hours to get there, and it took me less than 2. All because I didn't necessarily drive like traffic rules as we know them, but then no Afghans drive like with traffic rules as we know them. I drove like I saw the Afghans driving, and I thought I could just slide through traffic. Never sat in one place for very long. Is this over, or am I just, yeah, it's not over. We got this nice deceptive open area. I did this last year in the summertime to get Zeus, who was a 158-pound Cane Corso who didn't like men. And after getting him, this was in July. Poor Zeus. He broke out of his kennel that I had in the back and then tried to get me. And in trying to get me, he broke my passenger or my driver's side window, which I still have. It's still there. It kind of sort of holds out the cold. But it was in July or August, and this poor boy got so hot trying to get me up here in the front seat that he collapsed with heat exhaustion. I thought for sure that I'd killed him. And I was looking for some place where I could try to revive him with some water. He got to cool his body core temperature down so he wouldn't cook his brain. And just then, I had the sides up and the back open and the windows down. And just then, the biggest downpour of rain just popped up right over my truck for about 20 minutes. And Zeus came to after that. And it's weird, because that's the last time he ever went for me. And that was an hour and a half into the ride. And for the next 8.5 hours, he was my best friend. He put his butt against the passenger door and his front paws on my right thigh and gazed up into my his eyes with love. I think it's the fact that I don't think he ever had a man beat him before. Not beat him physically, but defeat him. Because usually he'd go after him and then they just, heck no, nope, I'm not having any of that. So he'd been trained that if he didn't want a man around, which he didn't like men, he would just go after him and then leave alone. So he was trained to chase men off. And he really liked women. So there's that. Next turn, and it's only halfway through this part of the trip. Unfortunately, this old car, it's a 1969 model Land Cruiser. It has drum brakes, and thing about drum brakes, they work really good if you got them set up just perfect. But if they get wet or if you overheat them, they fade and then you got nothing. Well, you do have a handbrake. And you can also downshift. But on these long downhill slopes, I'm very careful not to heat up my brakes too much. It's a 1.5 lane plus kind of road. So the shoulder is snow and ice right up to it. I'm not too afraid though. I would just lock my hubs and put it to 4 low and I'd get out of it easy in case I'm getting stuck. Unless of course I slide off an embankment. But then that's a totally different problem. This is the first really good phone I've had. I usually get the cheapest phone that'll take calls and I can play around on the internet with. And this one is it's a Pixel 10 Pro XL. And it's according to the guy that sold it to me, it's the best non-Apple product phone for camera and different multimedia. I'm just learning it, and I look forward to editing this tonight and then posting it to my YouTube channel. I'm really just kind of learning about YouTube. I gotta admit, I'm retired, and I used to be a mechanic among other things. I spent a lot of time working in the shop, or working with our dogs, listening to some YouTube channel playing or another playing in the background, listening to my earbuds. So I consume a lot of YouTube, and I'm smart enough I can kind of see what people are doing to get the nice production values. But I don't know if I'm ambitious enough to do production values. For instance, it's obvious from here I don't have a separate mic. I know that's probably something I gotta have. I Googled it and they said you have to have a separate mic if you want to really do much. Nope. But one of the problems I have is that the 1969 dash that was in this was in really horrible shape. It spent a lot of time out in the open, no windows in this vehicle, and so the bezel, the bezel on these Land Cruisers is removable, the instrument bezel, and so I got about half these instruments to work, kind of, sort of, over the year and a half of fixing it up. But I finally broke down and bought a digital bezel unit that has everything just plug and play, nice and modern. It looks nice. It looks like the old vintage bezel. But one thing I found to be just a pain and not working up is the high-low indicator for the headlamps. And since my headlamps are so freaking dim, I can't really tell if I have my highs or my lows on about most of the time. So that's why I had to click that back and forth to figure out whether I had high beams or low beams on. So what we're doing is, for anybody watching this YouTube channel wondering what the heck I'm doing, going cross country in the middle of the night from Clarksville, Tennessee to Roanoke, Virginia, that there's a dog in the Salem Animal Control that's been abused and neglected, severely underweight. Whoa! That would have been nice to have some kind of indicator, like a sign. But this dog, name was Bodhi, after the Indian god of healing, which I found kind of cool, a little bit cool, but it's a hard name. Bodhi, buddy, body. The dog has a hard time with that. Actually, people would have a hard time with that unless they were Indian. But so we decided to go with the name of Mater, which I love. Tall Mater to you. And this good boy is black, is severely underweight, not really an adoptable dog. Not here, not in Roanoke. So we're going to take him back to Clarksville, and we'll make him one of the Michaela's Mutts, or Michaela's Mutt Hotel, and then we'll nurse him back to health, get him back to a fighting weight, and then market him like we do our other dogs. So I'm looking forward to it. These are the best dogs because you get to see their redemption arc. It's the coolest thing about this business. Oh, the wind just came up. Holy crap. I mean, serious wind just came up. I think this happened just right here last time too. There's this valley, and I think the wind comes off the ocean all the way up into this valley. For a second there, my front wheels were just a little bit light. So, story time. Do I need to tell any more stories? My bride and I have been adopting dogs since 2017 when I retired from my career. I was an international contractor at the time, and we decided I was going to retire and retired, and I spent, as a kid, I always had dogs. My dad and we bred dogs and trained and sold them. Australian Shepherds at first. And then my dad got into financial trouble, and he had to make a lot of money fast, so he became a puppy mill. He made a lot of money at it, but he sucked at it because he was never able to let the dogs go that didn't get adopted. So he ended up having, 60 pets. And he quit breeding them after he managed to save the farm. And once he quit breeding them, he just gave them the best life he could until they passed away of natural causes. And I left that, went in the military, went to college, went in the military, and then 32 years later, I hadn't had a dog in 32 years. Just can't. Moving around. So in 2017, when I finally retired, my wife and I, we decided, hey, let's get a dog. So we got a dog. She was captured as a feral dog down in the Missouri Ozarks. They were actually hunting her pack of dogs that she was with. They were actually becoming dangerous to animals and people. So they were hunting the dogs, and they found her sitting on puppies. So they didn't kill her. They captured her and her puppies and took her back to the Springfield Animal Shelter. And she bounced around there for a while, and then she bounced around different shelters in Missouri until finally the Jasper County, Iowa, Animal Shelter got her. And it's funny, I was on a 1 year, I just started a 1 year contract. I told my wife, I said, when I get back to this contract, let's have me retire and we'll get a dog. So I was like a month into the contract, and I was, scrolling on Pet Finder, and I found this beautiful dog, beautiful red girl named Leela, who was for adoption at the Jasper County Animal Shelter. I called my wife and said, "Oh, that's my dog." And she said, "You idiot, you have 11 months to go in your contract." And so I grumbled, and I said, "Okay." And I missed the road, lost track of the road there for a second. And I grumbled, and went away and said, "Fine. But a year from now, we're definitely going to go get a dog." Turns out that right after I found the dog, somebody found her too, and they adopted her. And they had several small dogs who proceeded to attack her and rip the crap out of her, just tore her up. And they returned her to the animal shelter, and they had a severely wounded dog now. So they were looking for some place to get her fixed up cheap. And we're not far from the Ames Veterinary College in Ames, Iowa. And for Iowa State Veterinary College in Ames. And so they shipped her out to there. And they fixed her up, and then they shipped her down to Des Moines Area Community College, where they have a vet tech school. And for the next several months, she was a trainer dog, where the vet techs would do all their vet tech tasks, training on this dog at the community college. And then I got done with my contract 11 months later, and that weekend they had a large dog no fee weekend. And what do you know, that was the first time that this Leela was back up for adoption. And walked in, she was the last dog that I looked at, all the way in the end. And I said, "Oh, holy crap, that is the same dog." And so we adopted her. Let me tell you, she was a problem. She was a feral dog that had been spent a couple 3 years in animal shelters. And so she developed all these animal shelter behaviors. Plus, she was not subordinate to anybody. She was the leader of any interaction she'd ever been in. So we spent a year or 2 or 3 getting her to where she wasn't in charge of everything. And we've had her since then. She's about 15 years old now. We moved down to Clarksville, Tennessee, and I took her out on a walk, like maybe the second or third night. We were in our new house down there, and this one lady had 4 loose running dachshunds who immediately attacked her, chewed her legs up. I kicked a few of them. I'm sure I contacted with a couple or 3 of them. We finally got away from her, and of course, no apology. This lady with the free-running dogs, as far as I know, she still lets them run. So she's been attacked twice by dogs, and then later on, we rescued a dog, and ended up adopting her. She's got doggy OCD and some other behavioral problems. But she ended up being pretty good friends with Leela. And this last year, Leela had a stroke. And we didn't know about the stroke until our other dog attacked her the morning after her stroke. Because evidently, Leela was acting weird, and Maxie was reacting like any wild animal would. A weird animal can't be trusted, so she attacked her. We went a few more months. We got her fixed up. We went a few more months. We reintroduced them. They were getting along again, and then our other dog attacked the leader once again, and then from now on, they're crate and separate. But Leela's 15. We're not going to have to keep crate and separate for too much longer. She's got old age alopecia, so she's naked. That's okay. She's a good house dog. And the dog that attacked her is named Maxie, and she's a good barn dog. And she backseat played with Charlie at least once a day, sometimes twice. Charlie's our American Staffordshire Terrier. He's a piece of work. He's the best dog. Super friendly to people and most dogs. But he recently turned 4, and it's like when he turned 4, you turned a switch. Before, he was friendly to everybody and anything. But about the time he turned 4, we moved out into the country. We got a fence, and he immediately became defensive of that fence. So no people or dogs or anything can go inside that fence, or Charlie will get you. At least he sounds like he will. But he's a good boy. Everybody that's ever dealt with him will validate he's the best boy. You know, the car, if you just back off a little bit, not have your brights on, I can see to pull off and let you by. But since you aren't, oh, here we go. There's a shunt right there. See? This man says pull over when you're not going as fast as traffic. But when you drive in late T69, FJ40 Toyota Land Cruiser, you learn to pull over because you are the slowest guy on the road most of the time. This rig's, I called it a car, it's not a car. This rig's sweet spot's about 45 miles an hour. It'll go 65 all day long, but it sounds loud. That old 4.2 liter inline 6 direct copy of the 40s and 50s Chevy inline 6, just not meant for rev. But it gives you lots of torque really way down low. You put it in a first gear and low range, you could climb a wall. Here's our turn. 15 minutes. I think the craziness, this is the end of the craziness. I'll probably shut you guys off while I drive the rest of the way into town. There we go. There it is. Alrighty, folks. Well, it's been good talking to you. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, there we go. Been good talking to you. I'll log off now and put this on the YouTube later.